Hello and welcome to Pod Don't Lie with Sam and Stav. We are here with you guys we're recording on a Monday right after the motherfucking Last Dance. Episodes 3 and 4 came out, and we're gonna recap them shits for you. We got other NBA stuff to talk about if we get to it. Who fucking knows, Sammy? A lot going on. I don't know if you see Draymond keeps running his mouth.
He can't stop, man. And I don't like the running your mouth at Barkley. Who
I know.
I've been going down a Barkley rabbit hole, man. This guy was a fucking killer.
Yeah, so we got Draymond's running his mouth. We got the NBA might be coming back. Who fucking knows if this virus was a hoax by the liberal media this whole time?
I hope.
Yeah, I'm on team. Dude. You'll see me with a "Don't Tread on Me" fucking mask on if this shit's a hoax, dude.
I'll cut the sleeves off this shirt. I'll start wearing flannel, trucker hat.
Bro,
I'll come up with a catchphrase.
4 more years if this shit's a liberal hoax, dude.
Let's not go that far. But I was with you up until then. I was right there.
Listen, this motherfucker gets me the NBA Finals, dude. Especially since it's Biden.
Oh,
I'm listening, dude. I'm listening. if I can watch LeBron again.
Which guy who you would never want your mom to date are you gonna vote for? That's basically what it comes down to.
Which stepfather that's molesting you? Which molester stepfather should have the keys to the country? But
would you rather have a stepdad smell your hair, grab your ass? That's what it comes down to, you know?
Yes, or both. They'll flip.
Obviously, in my case, but
yeah.
But goddamn.
Anyway, so we are fucking cooped up here, and we've got so much fucking good shit for you. Like we said, we're gonna recap the fucking. Why don't we start there? Episodes 3 and 4.
Incredible. The Rodman app was like, it just took me back. I forgot he took a vacation mid-season.
That was fucking hysterical. What are some of your just instant stuff you want to talk about? Some things that just, first of all, what fucking popped out at me, number one, it was just cool to see Jordan just completely real. Like he's saying fuck, he's saying shit. And it was so interesting to see. And the one thing I think
Ron Harper saying fuck.
Dude, Ron Harper's quote was unbelievable. He was just like, whatever, man, fuck this shit, I guess.
People forget how good a player Ron Harper was before he blew his knee out, because he was 22-7-7. He was the go-to guy. He was a big killer. So
that was another thing that really jumped out, was that I grew up, my first basketball memories, my real first basketball memories are this season, is the Last Dance. I'm like fucking 8 years old when this shit's going on, 8, 9 years old. So to me, the Bulls were just always this invincible juggernaut. So what was cool was to just feel, and even though I've seen the documentaries and all this stuff, in the context of this, it was like, I didn't know how fucking good Cleveland was supposed to be the next team. Like they were next up. I didn't know that. I had no idea.
Price, dude, Mark Price, he was so fucking nice. Brad Daugherty, right? Craig Elo and Ron Hart. That's a tough team, but it's insane to think of them being picked over the Bulls.
I know. And like the Bulls local writers themselves calling it like a sweep and shit. And when Wilbon was like what the Bulls were known for up until that time was blowing a lead. I can't even fathom that being.
It's also funny that like Cleveland, Detroit, Chicago, they're all kind of close. It's just funny that these, like when Wilbon's talking about like talk to our Detroit family. Yeah. Like that's how fucking real it was.
I know, dude. I know. It's insane. And like to think like before Jordan, Chicago was just like maybe similar to what the fucking Cavs or were like before LeBron. Like this kind of like Midwestern. I mean, I know it's a huge city and everything, but in terms of sports, clearly no one gave a fuck about the Bulls. So
and we forget Jordan's such a legend. We forget he had to prove himself.
Right. Absolutely. But yeah, the Horace Grant, just that shit fucking jumped out at me when he's just he calls the bad boys straight up bitches. That was fucking great.
My God. Although I didn't realize he was like whimpering to the refs and shit. I didn't realize Jordan's like, no, fight. Because that dirty hit where Rodman just threw Pippen down, that's one of the things where you're like, oh, that's fucking beyond Bush League, though. It's like one thing to lose, but like they lost with no class. And I get why Jordan's like, fuck you, we shook your hand. But then Isaiah, I get Isaiah too. Isaiah's like, they didn't fucking treat us with respect. That formed our identity as the outsiders.
Yeah.
They wanted to be They wanted to be heels. They wanted to be the bad guys.
It's hard not to come away from this, and we'll see. Next episode, they teased it. It seems to be the Dream Team episode. It's hard to come away from this, and especially for the Dream Team episode, I assume, just knowing what I know about the Dream Team and Isiah, it's hard not to feel a little for Isiah.
Oh yeah,
it's like Isiah was a great. I mean, he's 6 feet tall in this era of like people are humongous, this huge, tough. And I know his team's dirty, but it's like you look at the greatest of his generation. He never played with a player as good as Pippen, as good as I mean, you could argue Rodman on the defensive end, but it's like it was an ensemble around him.
Isaiah's like one of the most underrated ever.
And it's like, Bird had McHale. Bird had, it's just like Pip,
and Dennis Johnson and Robert Parrish.
Yeah,
fucking Bill Walton.
Magic had fucking
Kareem Worthy.
It's just like he was out there by himself. And I know his team was like, obviously his team was annoying, and Lambeer is fucking annoying, and just the way they would brutalize people is annoying. But and especially the way he gets left off. He gets left off of the Dream Team. It's like,
it's unfair.
And how Jordan continues to hold that grudge to this day. It's like you got some part of me feels for Isiah having watched that. I know that's a weird thing to come away from, but that was, I guess, just because I know how he gets fucked out of the Dream Team.
And I would feel the same as you if he didn't sign Jerome James to 5 years, $30 million in like 2006. Well, what the fuck are you thinking? Same with the Jared Jeff. Until was a part of the Knicks front office, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Isiah Thomas is truly one of the most underrated players ever, because you're right. He didn't have that other. Dumars is a very good. Everyone was very good. A lot of very good, but not. It was just like by committee. And if the chips, I mean, if you really needed somebody, it was him. And he's a fucking 6-foot point guard in an era where those guys are getting brutalized. So it's like, I don't know. They were also doing a lot of the brutalizing.
They were doing the brutalizing. I know.
We had Lambeer on our show. He was saying Larry Bird won't talk to him to this day. Those guys, they didn't leave it on the court. It was personal. They didn't play AAU ball together. They're like, no, fuck you for life.
Yeah.
This is not a game.
But anyway, I'm sure we'll talk more about this after the Dream Team episode for sure. I would assume, but
I hope.
There was just a lot of really fucking interesting moments. And another thing that really stood out to me was Doug Collins, the motherfucking drip god, the fucking drip lord.
He's big cross around his neck.
He's out there with a perm, a cross dangling, saying fuck, had rings and watches all on his fucking shit. Doug fucking Collins rocks, dude.
He looked like the boyfriend in Coming to America. He had soul glow. As a white dude, you're like, what the fuck?
He was swagged the fuck out, dude. Absolutely. That man.
But they wouldn't have won with him, though, dude. They might have not won with him because he was just playing through Jordan. Like, Phil is why those dude. They would have won, but they wouldn't have won to the extent they won with Phil.
Well, the other thing is, and I should have fucking re-looked at this because it's been a while since the book I keep mentioning is Playing for Keeps that David Halberstam wrote about Jordan. I should have re-looked at it, but I believe Jordan. One thing that gets left out, or that got left out of this documentary, is that Jordan had kind of a dud game in that series too. I know it was the migraine. Before the migraine, I believe. The
Game
migraine
6?
was no the Doug Collins year when they lost the first year. I think Jordan had like a shitty game that year. He just it was weird because they didn't really talk about Jordan's struggles that much in this. It is,
you can see he's still mad at Scotty too. He's like, I mean, what are you going to argue with him? He had a migraine, but you could tell he's like, Jordan's like, I would have made it through.
Yeah,
I would have been okay.
But that was another very weird element of this. And this is the second episode, was that like the whole Doug Collins firing, Phil, it seemed like Phil was like basically undermining him and looking for his job the whole time. Collins even says it where they ask him, and he's just like, I just had a feeling. And they're like, what are you talking about? He's like, just a feeling. He wouldn't say anything to like, I guess he's a classy guy, but.
Yeah, but the way they had Phil, like Tex Winter and Phil was just like writing out shit on the chalkboard as the assistant coach, like he's fucking Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting. We're like, this is insane. This looks like he's the coach already.
And Collins is just fucking putting hairspray in his shit. He's got his rollers on. He's polishing up his fucking cross. Collins is somewhere fucking rollerblading, getting pussy while Phil Jackson's doing the X's and O's. He definitely looks like a guy who has eaten pussy on roller skates. The way that's how Doug Collins looks in this documentary, and I fucking love it.
They're like, dude, he cared so much, his shirt was wet from sweat. I'm like, that might have been the product from his hair.
Yeah,
I don't know.
His hair was dripping, and he had coke sweats going from the night before. Check that man. You know, Doug Collins had a long pinky fucking nail when he was coaching those teams, dude.
He was a fucking. But you feel for him the way you feel for like Mark Jackson with the Golden State Warriors, where you're like, he did build it. Like that was his team. And
he's the guy. He's the guy that allowed Jordan to average the most points since fucking, Wilt. I mean, those 37, 38 point PPG scoring titles. That's because of Doug Collins, and of course Jordan loved him. And I didn't realize that. To me, makes a lot of sense because the only Wizards team I've ever watched and enjoyed was the Jordan Wizards, and Collins was coaching those teams. Like, I didn't realize that it was sort of like, it really was just like the boys getting back together again one last time.
It's so funny though, because it's like how would you like to coach Jordan at the very beginning and the very end? It's like, hey, you can go on a date with fucking Denise Richards when she's 97. You're like, all right, cool. That's
after she's gotten AIDS from from what's his face? God damn it,
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen, yeah.
Dude, it's crazy, and I just forgot so much. Like now I remember Rodman just being that mess, but you're like, Phil gave him this long leash. Phil was like a cool dad who just was like, no, this is what he needs. And Jordan was pissed that he just gave Rodman a mid-season vacation to, shoot tequila, fuck Carmen Electra, and party in Vegas, riding motorcycles mid-season. You're like, this is insane. Like, you're drunk riding a motorcycle?
Dude, that was one of the most dudes rock moments of all time. Just fucking the Miller Lite. He's drinking a Miller Lite with a bandana.
It was fucking insane.
That was such a beautiful fucking. There were such great moments in the documentaries. I mean, one of the strengths of this series over the first four has been the montages, like the music montages. I mean, the one in the first episode where they're using the Prince song from Batman. That was awesome, where George is just going off, and then the Rodman Beastie Boys montage was incredible.
And I need Beastie Boys for him. He is that fucking intense energy. Beastie Boys is just energy music, man. That's what he is.
And it was just like so interesting. And the things I really liked, I do have some criticisms of the Rodman episode. I do think they almost didn't do him justice, in my opinion. Like it was, I really think, I mean, the interesting parts were, the Vegas thing obviously was fucking unbelievable. And, the idea that Jordan has to go get him. I mean, the idea that
Jordan thinks he's not coming back. Jordan was like, dude, you can't give him a vacation. He will not come back. Like, I think how stressed Jordan is. And Jordan saying, like, if anyone needs a vacation, it's me. And that Phil Jackson's like, dude, look at this guy. His hair is a different color every day.
Yeah.
He's mentally unwell. He needs this.
48 Hours is so fucking funny. That's honestly the documentary I want to see. I wish there was a film crew. I wish there was a film crew with Rodman for those 48 hours, dude.
It's incredible.
But I mean, and what's really interesting, but again, I don't think they fully did that man justice because.
In what way?
Well, okay, so they talk about him in Detroit, obviously, and all this, but it's just like, they leave out a lot of his like I think an exact kind of the point that I'm talking about where it's most obvious is when they talk about his possible suicide attempt outside of the fucking palace. They kind of gloss over it. They don't even mention that there's a new coach. Whereas like the reason that happened is Rodman. And I mean, like, we don't get much of his backstory. They tell us his mom kicks him out. They don't tell us that like his mom kicks him out. When she kicks him out, he's 18 years old and he's 5'7". That never comes up. He grows a foot and 2 inches in 2 years while he's homeless playing pickup hoops. Like he's a homeless fucking janitor, and he goes from 5'7" to fucking 6'8". It's insane that doesn't come up at all in this documentary.
The suicide attempt thing is also like clearly the NBA was not progressive on mental health. This guy tries to kill himself and the Pistons are like, "That's it, you were traded."
Get him
like,
out of here.
What? You're just gonna put him on the block?
And the reason, and I mean, and Rodman, and okay, I get it. Part of it is like he has his own documentary, and it's really good, and that's where I learned most of this stuff, right? But you either have to address it or you just don't, and you find a different angle. They were in this weird middle ground where they just kind of they hit all the familiar beats, but they didn't tell us that he's like. I mean, the whole reason he even wanted to commit suicide or was like suicidal at the very least was because Chuck Daly was his father figure. Rodman's dad abandoned him and went and had fucking 20 plus kids in the Philippines. That never comes up, whatever. So he doesn't have a father figure. Yeah, dude. His name is Philanderer Rodman. And I'm not kidding you. His name is Philanderer Rodman. He abandoned their family when he was 3 years old, and he has 28 kids with like 16 different women. He's insane.
28 and 16 though. That's like Rodman like numbers. If he had better offense, you know, if he could pour in 12 more points.
That's his rebounds. He's got 28 rebounds. Anyway, so his dad leaves him. He grows up in the projects with his sisters and his mom. He's nervous around guys. He's talked about this. He's like, I was nervous around other little boys. All I could relate to was women. I didn't know how to behave. I was very shy. So he finally he spends years homeless, right? It's 2 years homeless. He finds some belonging when he plays JUCO. When he gets to the league, he plays all 4 years. He gets to the league he's 25 when he's drafted in the second round.
Wow.
It's insane. He's the same age as Isiah Thomas when he gets drafted as a rookie.
But he was so immature, right? I mean, he was so
exactly
a young child, they were saying.
Exactly. And the Pistons, that's the first time he fucking feels like he's in a family. Chuck Daly's his only father figure. After they win and the team fucking falls apart, he's like his friends are getting traded. Daly, his dad, gets fired. He doesn't know how to fucking cope with it. By
the way, where's the respect for these great coaches? Like Chuck Daly wins them 2 titles and they fucking fire him. Phil Jackson is about to win his 6th and they're like, you can wait 82 games. We're not re-signing you. Like, how fucking stupid are they? And then Phil wins 5 more rings with the Lakers.
Krause is he always, except for his moves, the man did cut a nice rug. I don't know if you saw him when he was fucking, when they were like, go Jerry, go Jerry.
Just pushes up one of his tits and starts licking it. We're like, all right, it's a bit much.
But yeah, so Rodman is this fucking, so it's like he's a little kid whose world comes crashing down in Detroit. He gets traded to the Spurs and he becomes basically like a shithead teenager. He dyes his hair. He starts dating Madonna.
I did not realize him getting his hair like Wesley Snipes in Demolition Man directly got him Madonna.
Yeah, dude. Shouts out
that
to
haircut.
Wes.
She's like, who's that guy?
Yeah,
and it's like he thinks he's the villain from Demolition Man. That's getting him laid.
Yeah, dude. Well,
the bar in San Antonio is so low.
And this is pre Popovich. This is just like, you know, they don't know what to do with him. It's with David Robinson, who's like,
which you'd think would be a great influence on him. He's such a like clean.
He's a fucking
guy.
Virgin. You know what I mean? It's like
David Robinson.
Like, yeah, dude. He's like a nerd religious guy.
So he's such a good player though.
Good player, but like not the kind of guy that's going to keep someone like Rodman in check. You know what I mean?
No, you need a few guys. I mean, they're right. I mean, taking a chance on him. I remember having. I don't know if you remember the old magazine Inside Sports. I remember it was a picture of Rodman and Jordan, and it said, "Hair and air, can it work?" Like people didn't think it was going to work.
Yeah, no, people did not think. I mean, Krause even said that they interviewed that assistant GM who was like, "I thought it would work," and Krause didn't want it at first, but they were just. I mean, that's the other thing. They're coming off. You have to think about it. They're coming off losing to Shaq and Penny. It's like this. You know, Jordan's been playing fucking baseball. And their team needs they need something else. And they really had no other moves, especially because you could get him for fucking nothing because nobody wanted him. Everyone thought he was a head case at this point.
It's crazy that no one wanted him and that he still had all this left. Like I remember him guarding Malone in those playoffs being like, this guy's incredible.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, that's the thing when you look at him, and that's the other thing. They sort of left out some of his stats. I mean, the guy is fucking unbelievable. It's just like, you know, he's guards Malone. Speaking of when they played Shaq and Penny with Rodman on the team, he fucking shuts down Shaq. He shuts him down for a half. It's crazy. He's guarded Bird, Magic, Pippen, Jordan, Shaq, Karl Malone, all in a fucking career. It's insane, dude. It's like He's unbelievable. He led the league in rebounding from the age of 30 to 37. I mean, 37 when he was with the Bulls, that last year with the Bulls. I had no idea he was that fucking old. It's crazy.
It's crazy. And he also just like, there's such humility with that style of play to be like, no, I'll do all the things you don't want to do.
Dude. I mean, listen to this 9-year stretch.
Mm-hmm.
9-year stretch between the Pistons and, whatever. Pistons and Bulls. 5 rings, Defensive Player of the Year twice, leads the league in rebounding 7 straight seasons, 18 as high as 18.7 to 15. That's from the ages of 30 to 37. I mean, he had his career high is 34 rebounds in a game. 34. That's fucking Wilt Chamberlain shit, dude. That's playing with fucking 5'8" white guys in the 50s.
Oh, dude, and the clips are playing like that famous one where he keeps tapping the one from Barkley.
Yeah, dude.
Those are plays where you're just like, yeah, you just wanted it more. That's like, it's a sports cliche, but you just like want it more. And the fact that he did shoot around with people and he's like, no, you shoot. You
shoot, I'll take the rebounds.
Like, that's why he was so great at it. It's like the way we talk about, like, I'm not obviously not comparing a guy like Reggie Evans to Dennis Rodman, but that guy, Reggie Evans, was a rebounding specialist. You know what I mean? Like, that guy came in to get rebounds and play D. And those guys they practice rebounding the way Jason Williams practiced handling the ball.
Right. Absolutely.
Which is so fucking, like, you're like, why is this guy's instinct so well? How many times does he watch the ball go off? He knows where it's going to go.
And that's what he said. He was like, I mean, they at least covered that a little bit, where he's sitting there and he's watching people shoot and he's taking notes on how they fucking, how it spins. He knows the different spins different player shots has. It's like, there was a 1996, they did a cover story on Sports Illustrated, Phil Taylor, it's called The Greatest Rebounder Ever, ? And it's like, and he spends time with them and he's just like, he's sitting there and he's watching a regular season game between the Bulls and the Hawks. And he's like, watch this. He's like, anytime I see Scotty or Michael shoot from the top of the key, I know the ball will come off the rim to the right. He says, referring to teammates Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, watch this. And then he fast forwards and it happens over and over again. And the writer is just watching it fucking do that. He fast forwards again, first to another Pippen miss from the top of the key and then to a Jordan miss from the same spot. Both times the ball bounced off to the right, and both times Rodman, who has spent hours observing the arc of their shots, is in position for an uncontested rebound. It's crazy. I mean, it's just like, and he's such a – I mean, you want to talk about unique and we'll never see a player like that again. No one – even guys who are rebounders, they don't – it's not like this. I mean, it's really – he's just such a unique player.
Well, who are guys who dominate rebounding year after – it would be guys like Dwight Howard or DeAndre
big
Jordan.
Guys.
Big guys,
Andre
right?
Drummond, yeah.
Look, when's a 6'8" guy ever going to do that again?
It's crazy, dude. I mean, it's really fucking. He's really had such an incredible thing, and it's like.
And and Jordan hated him, and he ends up on the Bulls. I mean, there's so much. I know. To that.
And I mean, and that's the thing. It's like they didn't cover that. They didn't, like I said, they didn't cover the growth spurt. You know, they don't talk about how he's sober when he's on the Pistons. The man has never had a drink. And then he becomes this fucking alcoholic later on. It's like, I mean, there's so much to that we don't cover at all. They don't even talk. Do you remember the fight? He's in a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie while he's on the Bulls.
What was it? The knockoff? Which one was it? No. Simon Says.
No. He's in what the fuck? What's it called?
Simon Says. No.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, dude.
I don't remember. I watched it. Double Team.
Was it?
Rodman, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
Was that wrong? What Simon Says? Wasn't that a movie too? Yeah, that's another movie. Simon Says, S-E-Z. It's an action comedy with Rodman and Dane Cook. Holy shit.
That's right. That's a different one. Yes.
In 99. Damn, yes. Dane Cook was getting it. That's a long time ago.
That's weird. Yeah, 99. Dane Cook with Dennis Rodman. An interesting combo. I had no idea. But yeah, I just think they did not give us they just either give us that whole portrait. And listen, you don't have to spend that much time on Rodman because he's been so covered, whatever. But like they left out so many key parts that I didn't feel like I was watching it with my roommate and I just felt like he was confused about, he was totally confused about the suicide thing. He's like, what? And like they don't explain that really. They make him seem crazy, and it's like he's not crazy. It makes sense when you see the arc of his life.
Dude, also, I mean, such a tragic life. And I remember they talk about in the Bad Boys documentary how he was running for every ball, like he was running away from something. I was like, fuck, that's heavy, you know?
Yeah.
And I was kind of bummed they didn't get Madonna for an interview because they got Carmen Electra. They got fucking Obama. You can't get Madonna.
Yeah.
And Madonna's kind of had these weird relationships through the years. I mean, I remember when A-Rod was banging her and he was cheating on his wife, one of the all-time great sports trolls was in Boston at Fenway. They're all wearing Madonna masks because A-Rod's going through a divorce for fucking Madonna. And you're like, this is like, you can't troll a human being better.
That's very good. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, I just think, and Madonna like wanted to have his kids. That's where Rodman fucked up. Rodman should have had a kid with Madonna, dude, just to keep her in the universe, keep her in his orbit for the rest of his life. That's his one mistake, I would say, is not because she wanted to have his kids so bad. Anyway,
dude, you know what else is so freaking great is like how Phil really just got Dennis, and how Phil was like the part where that Rodman goes to his home and he's like giving him these Native American like artifacts. He's like IW like backward dragon or whatever, and Rodman just like I don't give like Rodman was like I don't give a shit. Like when he asked him, do you want to play for the Bulls? Rodman was like I don't care, and you're like how old are you?
Yeah,
you're like you're playing for like do you want to play for like potentially the greatest team ever? And he's just like he's like Judd Nelson in Breakfast Club. He's like, whatever.
Dude, that's exactly who he is, dude. He's as a 30-year-old man, he's like a troubled fucking bully. But well, the Phil stuff, that was weird though, man. It was like Phil is the original girl at Coachella with a headdress on. He's just like he's some fucking white Christian from Montana who's like, when I played Cowboys and Indians, I was the Indian. And it's like, so now you're out here fucking going, oh, yo. Just like, how is he going to pass for that? He's what, like, I assumed Phil was like, I don't know, like, I didn't, until I read about him, I didn't know he was just a white guy. I thought he looks like he could be maybe like, partially Native American or like black or something. And he's just a fucking white guy with a beard that was weird. I thought, yeah, his parents are like preachers from Montana.
Oh, dude, he's 2 missteps away from being Rachel Dolezal. He's right there. Phil Jackson's like 2. I mean, I remember when he said the word posse about LeBron, everyone was like, ooh, let's all step backward.
Crazy, dude. Crazy. That was fucking weird. I kind of would have liked a little more on Phil. Phil is a very interesting guy. And the chapter about him in Playing for Keeps is fucking fascinating because sports was his escape. Because his parents were like fucking preachers, like fundamentalist, like fucking preachers and shit. And it's so weird to think of this guy. I mean, what a traditional American boomer Phil Jackson is. He goes from growing up religious, going to New York, growing his hair out, making some black friends, then doing acid. And then fast forward, he's an old man who's saying like, if only they have too many friends playing hip hop too loud in my locker room. It's like Phil has had the traditional boomer arc if I've ever seen it in my fucking life.
But you know what's cool about him is I feel like he played up to what everyone on his team should be, and he was kind of like a hip dad where he'd be like, "This is who Dennis is. I'm not going to change him." Like a lot of these '80s coaches were disciplinarians, like we're not going to do this in my locker room,
right?
And Phil is like, no, I want them to be who they are, and that's kind of like a progressive mindset for a coach of that era. And
yeah, it was for sure.
And he was like a hippie. I mean, dude, he was roommates with fucking Walt Frazier.
That's awesome.
They stayed in hotel rooms together. I think Frazier was the 1st round pick when he was a 2nd round pick that year. Action Jackson. The coolest part to me is that they showed him play and you're like, that's right. He was an energy guy. He was like a poor man's Dennis Rodman. That was how he played.
Yeah. And he did. I mean, that's probably why he understood. He always had better relationships. I mean, that's what people said about him and Shaq. It's like, he didn't like the guards as much. He liked Shaq. He was a big man. He understood Shaq more. He probably could understand Rodman. He was the same type of player. But
when you think about the what his career has spanned, where you're like, this guy played he played with Willis Reed and with Walt Frazier and with fucking Earl the Pearl and he coached Jordan and Kobe and Shaq and Paul Gasol. Like,
And then he slept through. Then he slept through the draft, the Porzingis draft.
Look, I stopped there for a reason. Like I didn't really want to relive the next year. I was gonna cut it off at paid Joakim Noah $72 million, but
truly an incredible career, man. Everyone gets their last fucking big bag from the Knicks.
Well, it's just not fair. Isiah Thomas, I'm like, everyone in this just got paid by the Knicks to ruin us.
Yes. Yeah, Phil certainly was interesting, and he was, I mean, obviously you can't argue with the fuck. Like, it's one of those things where sometimes there's an impulse to be like, okay, yeah, he won, but he had Jordan and Pippen, he had Kobe and Shaq, and then he had Kobe and Powell and the rest of that. Like, I mean, he's a big right place, right time type of guy who just, I mean, when you read about the way he treated Kobe the first time, it's fucking weird, dude. He refused to meet with him. He never met with him personally the first time. He tried to power play. He tried to have Kobe traded. All that stuff is true. And their relationship started getting better after it was clear, after the Lakers took the contract extension offer off the table for Phil, and it was clear he was going to leave the next year. That's when him and Kobe actually were cool, because Phil stopped being political and was just like, all right, well, I'll just coach you now. I mean, he always has been a weird meddling guy. And the other thing that nobody talks about is that in the Jordan Rules, which is the book that came out after, like, I believe I think he was still an assistant, but it's the book that came out that it was the first time people understood that Jordan was an asshole, right? It's like, it shows it has like vignettes about him fucking chewing out his teammates, and it shows that he's not this guy that's smiling and selling you fucking Gatorade or whatever. He was the source, and he made Krause think a different coach, Johnny Bach, was the source. He got that guy fired. It's insane, dude. And he lied about it. It's crazy. He's a weird meddling, like, for all this Zen master shit. At the end of the day, he's like a fucking Machiavellian cocksucker.
Dude,
he really is.
I remember someone posted that at a job interview with Phil, like he plays mind games, the job interviews. He asked someone questions like, "Is Steve Nash athletic? Explain." And you're like, I don't know. Is he athletic? Like, if I say he's not, is he like, you're going to be like, he's not athletic? He's the assist champ this year. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like, he's kind of not, though. He's just, I don't know. So, he likes to fuck with you.
I mean, he totally likes, and talk back to him being sort of weirdly racist. Like, Kobe had a problem with him because, so he would like assign people books. One of the books he assigned Kobe was the book Black Like Me. It was just like, he's saying, like, clearly telling Kobe, you're not black enough. It's just like, he did really weird shit, which he knew was
I don't think he's racist. I think he liked to fuck with people.
He's not. I mean, the LeBron posse shit was weird. And just to be a white guy who's even hinting to Kobe that he's not black enough when he knows that's one of his biggest insecurities because he grew up in Italy.
That's what I mean. Is like, he liked to test your toughness. I mean, he did it when he drafted Porzingis. He drafts Porzingis and then goes, I don't think he's got the body for an NBA player. And I'm like, dude, you just drafted him. What the fuck are you doing? So Phil liked to fuck with people. And with Kobe, it was weird because it was kind of at the time when the NBA player became more important than the coach.
Right.
Like, we talk about the coach became more important than the GM. Then the coach, like, after, like, the end of the Jordan run, you're like, oh, they don't give a shit about – I mean, the Bulls didn't give a shit about anybody, but they really didn't give a shit about Phil. It was disrespectful. And you think that they're going to take care of a guy who's just won you 5 fucking championships, about to win a 6th.
And what also doesn't make sense is from a pure economic standpoint. It's like, I know you're going to have to pay you know, I don't even know what the cap was like then. I don't know what luxury tax was like then. I would have to look that up. But even if you're carrying one of the most expensive rosters in the league, you know how much what a fucking cash cow Jordan and Pippen after they've won 6 going for the 7th would be? I mean, let him retire. The way the one smart thing the Lakers did was just pay Kobe $40 million. Yeah, he
48.
wasn't going to make that. Huh?
It was 48. It was
48, whatever it was. Yeah, he wasn't worth that, but it's like not on the court, but you're going to fucking lose anyway. I mean, you saw those kids going crazy. That kid in the documentary with the fucking bowl cut from like, what was it, Nashville, that wanted Rodman's. Like, kids are coming from across the country to watch these people play. Just as a business proposition, you should fucking understand that you're going to make them more money. I mean, it didn't make
also,
sense
rebuilding
in any way.
What Jordan's done to your franchise. Rebuilding is not going to lose your fan base. Look at the 90s Celtics. They sucked for a fucking decade.
Yeah.
People came back. People came. When you build something that big and you allow them to be a part of your franchise going forward and don't make Jordan leave to go to the fucking Wizards or whatever.
Right.
Just
to retire.
get him and come back.
That's
just make your star happy.
That's the thing. It's like they essentially force him out the door. And that becomes clear where he's like, I'm only playing for Phil. And they're like, well, we're firing Phil. It's like, well, then you're forcing me. You're forcing my hand. And it's just like, I don't know. I cannot believe I think every time I watch this, every new episode and every time I rewatch it, that will always be weird to me. The fact that they got away with that. Imagine, dude. Imagine.
Well, they're not getting away with it because it's making them look real bad. You know,
yeah,
but I hear you. But
they
I'm
did
also
at the time.
It's crazy. It's crazy to me that how much bigger than basketball Jordan is. You're like, because I'm watching this with my girlfriend who's knows nothing about basketball.
Yeah.
Like doesn't give a shit at all. And every clip she's like, holy shit, this is incredible.
Right.
And it's like, that's what Jordan did for basketball. He filled the arena with people that didn't give a shit about it before.
Yeah.
Who were just like, didn't know basketball, but saw what he was doing, was like, I can appreciate this because this is greatness, and this has never been done. And
Krause was like, you know what? I'm gonna actually go with Eddie Curry. I'm gonna actually go with Eddie Curry and Tyson Chandler instead. Thank you very much.
Oh, dude, the amount of time
I'd rather have a fat teenager than Michael Jordan.
Oh, it all hurts. It just because like at least the Bulls got Eddie Curry when he had hope. You know what I mean? The Knicks got him when it's like, this guy, he's a center who gets fucking 5 boards a game.
Yeah. Crazy. And had to trade for him.
It's all just painful, man.
Some other good part. I don't know if you had any other things from the documentary that stood out to you. Some other things that I liked. I talked about Horace Grant a little bit, calling the bad boys straight up bitches. That was funny. But you also have to hand it to Horace Grant, dude. And I think I've talked about this in a past episode, but it's like he's kind of one of the only people that has ever bested MJ in any way because he wins with them, right? They win 3 together. And Chicago, cheap, doesn't want to pay him. So he's like, they ask him to take a fucking pay cut. He's like, I'm not taking a fucking pay cut. You're not going to do me like Scotty. He leaves and gets a fucking big bag dropped on him. For the Magics, and then he beats MJ. That when MJ comes back from baseball, it's like I know they win 3 more after that, but if you're Horace Grant, you win 3, and then you get to actually be a guy that beats MJ after he was a dick to you.
Your arms are still huge. His arms, I'm like, this guy. What do you do anything? Because the first time, it's always bad when you're like, this guy got fat, and then you see him like, oh no, he's just the most jacked dude.
He's so big. Yeah, that's a cool way. That's a good transition. To be just this guy, just be the fucking buff ass.
Horace Grant, I remember being like a really solid power forward because he did the dirty work, but he had that sweet little 18-footer he could just hit all day, and like that's why he was great for the Magic because the Magic were kind of that futuristic team where they dish it into Shaq, but then they had Horace
they needed
Grant
him for sure. Yeah,
he could shoot the mid range. Then they had Nick Anderson and Dennis Scott who could just stroke it from 3. They were a fun team to watch.
Yeah,
and
for
Penny,
sure.
obviously.
Yeah. The other funny thing, MJ snitching on Scott Burrell on camera was so fucking funny.
Brutal.
He's like, come on, man, shit, not on cam, man. Not on cam.
And he just like it was MJ's that dude that just like doesn't get when the joke is over. They're like, and he's like, no, seriously. He's like, dude, my parents are watching. Please, you're like the biggest icon in the world. And MJ's like, this man will never be a good husband.
Yeah, yeah. Like he gave a fuck about his parents. He gave a fuck because the woman he was cheating on was watching.
But dude, think about MJ with like Snapchat and Instagram. Like what a nuisance he would have been.
Dude, that's an interesting thing though because that's another. And again, maybe I talked about this earlier. I don't remember, but what they do well in documentary is juxtapose him, who he really was, and how fucking what a media pro he was.
Oh yeah,
like he's just like giving. He's like, after his heart is broken, they've lost the Pistons. He's like, we just got to get out there next year, try harder. It's just like he's just saying the same shit. He's never throwing anyone under the bus publicly.
And his sportsmanship, the way he like, dude, that ripped his fucking heart out.
Yeah.
But he like went up there, shook his hand. Like, you don't think of Jordan being a gracious loser.
Yeah.
I sure as hell didn't.
Right. But yeah, so if it's interesting to think, what would he just be so media trained constantly all the time because of that? Because he knows about Twitter, he knows about Snapchat, but who knows? Who knows what would happen if he's if Jordan's around in this generation. He's having fucking backroom. He's doing fucking weird illegal mahjong games. He's in there. It's like a deer hunter situation. We're just going under. He's just watching Cambodian men fucking play Russian roulette with Charles Barkley. He's going somewhere no cameras are whatsoever, dude. He's gonna end up like with the mob big time.
Well, I'm excited for it to get darker. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to. But yeah, man, the fact that he also the fact that he kind of had this relationship to Magic, like I also felt like he kind of slighted Magic. I mean, he slighted Isiah because he hated him so much. He said like, "Oh, this championship puts me on the level of like I'm in the conversation with Magic and Bird," but he didn't mention Isiah. I'm like, Isaiah's got 2. You got 1 at this point,
right? Absolutely. I mean, clearly there was. He does get disrespected big time. That team gets disrespected big time. And in some ways I get it because it's like in the pantheon of great champions, it's like, they are not as good as the Celtics. They are not as good as the Lakers. They are not as good as the fucking Bulls. Even if you want to fucking fast forward to after the Bulls, it's like they're not as good as the Spurs. They're not as good as the fucking Heat. They just don't put together anything. I mean, maybe they're better than the Rockets, but that's it. You know what I mean? It's like,
Jordan had to become a superhero to beat them, though, and that kind of is cool. I mean, he gained 15 pounds of muscle. I remember on cards, Jordan was 6'6", 215. I don't remember being 6'6", 200,
Right.
So he just gains 15 pounds of muscle. He's toughening up Scotty. He's believing in his teammates. Like, they swept the fucking defensive the defending
is crazy, yeah.
They sweep them. They don't sweep them in the first round. They sweep them in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
That's disrespectful, man.
Absolutely. But yeah, just it was a lot of really good stuff in general, and yeah, I think that's basically all I want to talk about. I mean, it's fucking it's still incredible, and I'm with you. I can't wait to see some of the stuff we were promised about Jordan being a fucking pure asshole. We got a little hint with Burrell. We got a little hint with that stuff. And we've seen.
Although when cameras are on you all the time and you're up kind of fucking with your teammates, like I get it, but goddamn, it's gotta like it's kind of like you got to know your Jordan. You got to know when to like draw the line.
He didn't give a fuck though. That to him, he wants him to stop getting fucked up. That's clear to him. Is like, you're not Rodman, by the way. That's kind of the fucking that's the implication. It's like, you're Dennis Rodman Jr., but you're not playing like Rodman right now. And it's just like, you got to do your shit. You don't get away with what Dennis Rodman gets.
Oh, dude, I did that to a kid on my team who smoked too much weed in high school, and I like shamed him in front of the whole team. we were like mostly white kids on a horrible New York, Manhattan, small Division III type like league, and I was like, you're a disgrace. And people were like, I was like, you fucking disgrace. You smoke too much weed. And this kid was like, yeah, I don't care. I don't give a shit.
He's like, shut up, fucking loser. I'm about to go get high and get my dick jerked.
He's like, you don't smoke enough weed, you fucking tool. He's like, look at this disgrace.
What a piece of shit. But anyway, yeah. Great stuff. I can't wait for the next couple episodes.
I'm excited.
Should we talk NBA reopening a little bit here? What do we think?
I mean, I heard they're going to reopen some practice facilities. That's as far as
here's what's going on from Shams, the latest. And apologies if more has come up, guys, since we recorded. But Shams says if an NBA team facility's city is no longer subject to stay-at-home order, it may make facility open potentially starting May 8th. Individual workouts, no more than 4 players at facility at one time, 1 staffer in person max. Teams aren't allowed to use any practice training facility for workouts other than the NBA, than his teams. And the NBA has informed its teams of the reality. It's not possible or appropriate. So they can't do testing. They're just not able to test everyone. And players have to wear face masks and gloves the whole time except while they're in activity. And staffers have to be wearing gloves. Everything has to be everyone has to be 12 feet apart. and there's like one person for each team that's like the senior. They're calling it the facility hygiene officer. So I don't know. It's step one, but who knows, man. I hope it's possible to have some kind of fucking bubble playoffs where it's like they're fucking quarantined in a fuck somewhere. And
this is why you miss Lance Stevenson as like a defensive stopper, just blowing in LeBron's ear. The ultimate heel.
So I don't know. I'm nervous about it. I'd like for it to be back, but I don't know, dude. It feels crazy. It feels like we're in here so long. I don't even know what the fuck is going on anymore.
You gotta like give it like 3 weeks for people to get back in shape, and then just go for the playoffs, I think. And then because you can't play the rest of the season out, unfortunately, and you can't, and you're gonna have to start the next season late. It's just fucking crazy.
It's really fucking weird. But I guess if they're being super safe about it, and it's just like, 4 players max, 5 people in the facility max at a time. Who knows? And you know what? Hopefully this is for players that don't have anywhere else to get shots up. Hopefully it's for players that live nearby. Because if you've got a fucking court on your property, just practice there.
Yeah.
Don't, but hopefully it's step one. I don't know. We'll see. Let's talk about Draymond's comments. Why don't we do that?
Mm-hmm.
So Draymond he's been running his little mouth recently. He was on the All the Smoke podcast, very good podcast. You guys should listen to it. Here are some hilarious choice anecdotes from it. He says, I think I changed the game of basketball with the help of Steph Curry. I think Steph Curry changed the game of basketball with the help of me. I think it was a match made in heaven. And then Klay Thompson, us three changed the game forever. Which, oof. And then he also says he scored more about Charles Barkley. He scored more points than me. All right, cool, but that doesn't necessarily mean you had more of an impact on the game than me, which is a fucking insane.
Okay, Draymond, you play with your next 2 best players, Kevin Johnson and Dan Marley, instead of Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson. Can you imagine? I mean, Barkley is just underappreciated. I think Draymond's a great player. I love watching him. I love what a great teammate he is. I'm one of the best defenders in the game, which, I think is taken for granted. Great passer.
Better. The only thing he's a better defender and a better passer, but it's just not even a fucking competition. And for him to say, and listen, I didn't listen to the whole podcast, so maybe the language is that way where he says, I think I changed the game of basketball with the help of Steph Curry. Maybe the language is like that because he's responding to the way it was answered, but it's like, I actually think Barkley had the best take on this, where he said he's like the worst member of the boy band who doesn't realize he's standing next to Justin Timberlake. When the girls are throwing panties at his head, he's going to get hit by some drive-by panties, but they're really throwing panties at Justin Timberlake.
Barkley's never not great. I will say, though, I think Draymond does speak some truth. I think that team did change basketball, in my opinion, because before them, people always said just 3-point shooting can't win championships.
Yeah, but come fucking on. It's like – no disrespect to Draymond, he's a fucking role player in the grand scheme of things. He's an all-star. It's because but the shooting revolution put Draymond on a team with anywhere else. He's not changing the fucking game. Steph and Klay might.
Mm-hmm.
Steph has a chance to. Draymond does not. I mean, he's not an essential. He was in this situation, he was a part of the mix, but he's not an essential necessarily part of the mix.
Other than the Spurs, who did it through the draft like them?
Yeah. I mean, listen, it was incredibly drafted. I mean, the draft is unbelievable.
Because think about all the teams that won, like the Celtics. They did it through trades and free agency. Also, so did the Pistons. So did the – But it's also annoying.
It's annoying because, like, Steph did that,
the Heat.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Steph did it. Steph's the MVP. Steph's the guy who's the unanimous MVP. The playing style changes because of his unique talents, along with Klay Thompson's. And, look, I understand that Draymond's a great passer, and then he had one season where he shot pretty solid from 3, and that on defense he's a fucking Swiss Army knife. But that offense is revolutionary. It's the offense that is fucking revolutionary.
I'm not arguing that he's in the same conversation skill-wise as Charles Barkley. I think anyone who knows basketball is not arguing that. I am arguing his value to that team, and that you probably won't get – you can't really trade him because you won't get that value back, because I don't think he's as valuable on another team.
Sure.
But he hits the open 3. On his own, he's not a great shooter.
Not anymore. He did for one fucking season, and everyone pretends he's a good shooter.
The series last year against the Trailblazers, he was unbelievable. Every pass he made, I was watching him like, this is a great high IQ
He played himself
player.
into shape, and he was fucking unbelievable. But I don't know.
I would kill for a guy like that in the Knicks. Just the way he plays is he's a bruiser. He's a defensive mastermind.
Here's the stats
offensively, his game has holes, but he's a great player.
Okay, how about Barkley, when he had Thunder Dan and Kevin Johnson, he's an MVP. Draymond by himself this year without Steph and Clay, 8 points, 6.2 rebounds, 6.2 assists, 38% shooting, 27 from three, and the Warriors were 10 and 33 with him on the fucking team.
He's not a go-to guy. He's a third option.
Barkley, how about this? The first 8 seasons, and Barkley had like a few more, 50 more games or so. First 8 seasons, Barkley 14,000 points, Draymond 5,000.
No. I'm not saying that they're even close skill-wise.
Rebounds 7,000 to 4,000. Assists is Draymond has him.
Draymond is a heel though. He thrives on this shit. I mean, dude, we talked about him, being a heel on Paul Pierce last week. Yeah. Paul Pierce is a much better player than Draymond Green.
Yeah.
Paul Pierce is a franchise player.
Yeah.
It still doesn't mean that Draymond's still not great. It means he's kind of an asshole. And that's what he does. I mean, Joakim Noah was kind of that guy on the Bulls. He was kind of the guy who trolled the other team.
Yeah. And but just still hilarious stuff.
But you win with a guy like Draymond. That's what we saw with Rodman last night. That's what we saw with, Lambeer. That you need a guy like that. They're not going to be your best guy, but they act like they are, and their egos are inflated a lot of the time.
Right.
And they're colorful. I mean, Rodman's a colorful fucking dude, but those dudes are the glue guys. They always are.
Draymond also said he was a better defender than Rodman at one point, which is hilarious. Rodman's
he's
better,
not, but he's an all NBA defender.
Yeah, oh my God, defensive player of the year. But yeah, Rodman's better.
If not for Gobert, he probably would have won it last year too. I mean, he is a great defensive player.
Giannis probably no. Draymond did not have a great regular season.
Maybe 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah. He was fucking out of shape half that season.
I'm thinking 2 years ago, but those 2 years ago when,
you're right.
When they but that is also because they had so much offense. He really just had to, to pass to KD or Steph or fucking
And they have. I mean, I know Steph is a shitty defensive player, but that team is a good defensive team. There's other. I mean, he had Andre, he had Iggy, he had fucking Clay's a great on-ball defender. Yeah. You have
Livingston
solid.
Livingston was great.
Livingston is great. So it's just like anyway. Draymond's fucking annoying the amount just talking shit on Chuck. You're not in the same class, bro. You're not in the same You're not the same caliber of player.
Well, that's the problem with the no ring thing too, where it's like you take these great players for granted. You take Stockton and Malone and Ewing and Barkley and Payton. Payton got one at the end, but you know what I mean. These guys for granted, who were really like great players.
Yeah, as good as anyone.
And they had to carry the whole load, and they were.
And you could never do that. Draymond could never do that. It's happening. No. It's just fucking. Anyway,
doesn't mean he's not a great all around player. I love
absolutely,
him. I love
absolutely. It's like honestly, and Rodman too. These guys are like the platonic. They're turbo role players, all time role players. And I don't even mean that. Sounds almost like a slight. I don't mean that as a slight. It's just like
they're all stars.
They're all stars. They're Hall of Famers.
Third options. They're third options. Yeah.
I mean, not even. I would say. Not even third options. They're just
really.
That's why. No, dude, not even on the fucking
third
Warriors.
Guy in a team.
Third guy in a sense. Their value is on defense and intangibles much more. They have almost no value on offense.
But they won a ring with.
That's
Draymond
not fair.
Draymond's
a good passer. I'm still, I don't mean to shit on him that way, but yeah.
No, he's a very good player. They won a ring. Draymond was their third best player on that team. I know Iggy won the Finals MVP, but Draymond was the third best player on that team.
I guess, but then when Durant comes, he's not the third best player.
He's not, but if you win a ring with a guy being your third best player, they can be the third best player.
That makes me so fucking sick. They didn't even he only wins one ring with third best player, and that's the ring when LeBron has Matthew Dellavedova and Kyrie cracks his fucking kneecap. Fuck the Warriors, man. That team fucking sucks.
Look.
That's the fucking one he's arguing about? That piece of fucking shit? Congrats, you beat LeBron. You weren't oh my God. When LeBron had more than Matthew Dellavedova, you were the fourth best player on the fucking team.
The Warriors team.
And you're better than Charles
The Warriors
Barkley.
team with those three against the Bulls at their peak get smacked by the Bulls.
Yes, for sure.
With Durant, though, what do you think?
For sure. With Durant, it's a little bit more interesting, obviously.
Because the Bulls are weirdly long defensively for that time, which in the 90s, because Derek Harper's a long defender.
Derek Harper's good, yep. Pippen and Scottie.
Long defender.
Or Pippen and Jordan.
Rodman,
yeah.
They're
you put Rodman on KD, and then you have fucking they're a bad matchup even for them. That's insane.
You put
Bulls win. Yeah. The Bulls win, and also because
Rodman on KD. You put Jordan on. Do you put him on? No, you put Pippen on Steph.
Yeah. Yeah.
You put Jordan on. I don't know because Ron Harper, you don't make him chase Clay.
Yeah, that's true.
That's too many screens.
Well, I mean, he's up for it though.
He is up for it. You're right.
Anyway, whatever. Fuck Draymond. Let's finish the fucking. Let's cap the fucking episode off with some. We did on Thursday's Mailbag episode. We did a Patreon episode. By the way,
that was a great episode.
Thank you everybody who signed up for the Patreon. And by the way, we should say, guys, please continue rating, reviewing, subscribing on iTunes, on Spotify, everywhere you can get these podcasts. We appreciate you. And if you like us, you like what we're doing, we do a bonus episode every Friday that comes out on our Patreon, patreon.com/pod.life. Thank you everybody who signed up so far. And to finish off this episode, we did a Patreon-only mailbag last Friday, and we didn't get to all the questions. We forgot a couple. So we are just going to end the episode with a couple questions here from our Patreon subscribers.
Let's do it.
Why don't we start? Kelvin Thomas came through with a couple college-specific questions. He said, who is your favorite college player that did not make it in the NBA? His example is Levance Fields, point guard at Pitt.
Well, do you mean not make it like they didn't make it? I read this as didn't make it in the NBA, like they made the NBA, but they didn't have quite the NBA.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, because I don't know enough about college. I'm such an NBA junkie.
Just guys that you like that did not make it, basically.
I'll give you one off the top of my head. Jerry McNamara from Syracuse.
Ooh, that's a good one. I forgot about him, but yes.
I always kind of root for Syracuse as a New Yorker because, St. John's is never really in the mix anymore.
Right.
Syracuse has just always been
the closest you have, yeah.
And they're just kind of fun. It's a great program.
That Melo, I rooted for the Syracuse when Melo was there because Melo was kind of like he has some ties to Baltimore, even though he claims he's a New Yorker. But,
but I loved that Melo team. I love Jerry McNamara and Akeem Warwick. Those guys were fucking. Yeah. Akeem Warwick had a little NBA career, but he with Memphis didn't play a ton.
Didn't quite, yeah.
In college, he was a fucking monster.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'll say I'll go first with Jerry McNamara. I loved watching Adam Morrison in college.
Morrison, even someone like Jimmer Fredette.
Yeah,
all those guys.
That's a great one.
They could fucking shoot it and like never found a home in the NBA. But my personal one, I was just such a fan of the fucking Maryland team that won the
championship. I know who you're saying.
It's Lonnie Baxter.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say Juan Dixon because he was in the NBA. But
Juan Dixon never quite made it, but it was just like he at least had a little bit of a run and he got a shot at least. Baxter was I really love Baxter. He's like the 6'8" forward, and he just did not stick in the NBA. In fact, I looked up his Wikipedia just to see what he's up to. He played in Greece actually for a little while. He played, in Europe. Brutal. The last thing he was doing, he's selling cars now. And on August 16th, 2006, Baxter was arrested in Washington, D.C., only a few blocks from the White House after firing a .40 caliber Glock handgun into the air.
Oh no, dude.
Yeah, dude. On August 20th. And then how about this? He's sentenced to 60 days in prison after pleading guilty to possession of an unregistered firearm. The judge in the case did not accept the plea bargain that had been arranged with the prosecution. So he agrees for a plea bargain. He's going to get out on time served. And the judge is like, there's no good reason for a person who's not working with law enforcement or presidential protection to be in possession of a loaded weapon within blocks of the White House. So he gave him the full sentence. And he was later charged with shipping guns via FedEx in July 2006.
Brutal. Fuck.
So he became a small-time arms dealer.
He became Samuel L. Jackson and Jackie Brown. Dude,
Brutal, man.
I had a couple. I also, you know who I loved watching is a weird one. I loved watching Jay Williams at Duke.
Yeah, well, you mean Jason Williams or you mean the guy who fucked his knee up in the motorcycle accident?
Oh, yeah, his neck.
Chicago's.
Yeah, he had a rookie year, but then that was
Yeah.
it. He had a great rookie year. He was 10-5 for the Bulls.
That's a tough one because he probably would have been a really good
Fair.
player had he not fucked his shit up. But you're right, that's a good what if.
How about Greg Oden? I loved watching that Ohio State team.
And he was good when he played. He was good. He's not a bust. He's an injury. He's just injured.
So yeah, maybe those are bad. Are we going more like they just couldn't cut it?
Yeah, I think more guys who just never really did it. We did good though. I think
what was his name on North Carolina? Marcus Williams.
I don't know.
He was fun as hell to watch. North Carolina said, "Oh, you know who else? I'll do one more. Orlando Tucker from Wisconsin. He played for the Suns, but he didn't play much. He was but he was so fun at Wisconsin.
I don't know him. I don't remember him, but that's a good one. And here's another one. Kelvin asked another question, which I did a little research here for us. He said, imagine a 5v5 tournament of current NBA players from traditional college powerhouses. Which school's alumni squad wins that tournament?
It's easy, this one.
You think it's easy?
I'm going, without question, I'm going Kentucky.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, why? Who do you think?
What about Duke?
Who does Duke? I mean, they've got Kyrie. Who else do they have?
So Kentucky, obviously. So Kentucky, here we're talking Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker.
John Wall, healthy.
John Wall, if he's healthy. But then even if he's not, Shai Gilgeous. You're right. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jamal Murray, De'Aaron Fox.
My boy Kevin Knox.
Kevin Knox. How could we forget? Rondo. Willie Cauley-Stein.
Yeah.
Nerlens Noel. That's a fucking stacked
You forgot
team.
one.
Who?
DeMarcus Cousins.
Of course. So let's pick their five right now. Ready? It's definitely AD and Cat. Devin Booker.
Which is the unstoppable big men.
AD, because AD, yeah. I guess who's playing really center there? Neither one of them wants to play center.
AD is playing center.
But he doesn't want to.
But he's defensively superior, so you got to put him at the 5.
So you have AD and Cat and Devin Booker for sure. And then let's say currently injuries, everything taken into consideration.
So you take Gilgeous-Alexander.
Then you probably take Shai, and that's 4. And then what? Jamal Murray, De'Aaron Fox, Julius Randle.
That's tough.
No. I would probably
maybe you put Jamal Murray at the 3 because he's a big guard.
Yeah, and Shai, and then that's fun. I like that a lot. That's a good ass team. You're probably right. That's gonna win. Although Duke, you have Zion, you have Kyrie, Jason Tatum, Brandon Ingram, JJ. It kind of falls off after that.
You're right. They have great. I just think Kentucky is just such a powerhouse right now.
Yeah, you got Zion, Kyrie, Tatum, Ingram is a really good 4.
Yeah.
And then what, Bagley?
Tatum and Ingram are kind of similar.
True. But still.
Still a powerhouse.
Yeah, Zion. They just don't have a big man. You'd have to do Zion, Kyrie, Tatum, Ingram, and Bagley, I think.
That's a good team.
It's a really good team.
Bagley's a good big. That's better than I thought if we're doing 5s. I think they're formidable, but I still take Kentucky.
Yeah, I think so too. And then just to mention who else we have, UNC, fucking Vince Carter, Harrison Barnes, Kobe White, Marvin Williams, kind of tough. Danny Green, kind of a tough team there. Not great.
Yeah, back in the day, if we're going all time, North Carolina, because you can do Sheed and MJ and everyone and James Worthy, and it gets interesting.
But yeah, not much there currently. And then UCLA is kind of good. You got Russell Westbrook, Kevin Love, Levine.
That's nice.
Drew Holiday.
Oh, I like this.
Drew Holiday and Lonzo, I guess. Not
Yeah.
a bad team. Not great, not bad. Texas is actually interesting because you have KD and LaMarcus Aldridge.
Right.
And then Avery Bradley.
Good defender.
But he's kind of washed now. Miles Turner.
Good big. It is a good team.
Yeah.
That's actually a sneaky good team.
But, yeah, man, they just don't have anyone to fucking play guard.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Joseph, okay, not great, but at least you have a competent
I like
AD,
him.
LaMarcus, Miles Turner, Corey Joseph, and DJ Augustin. I don't know who else plays fucking.
Well, this is I stand by Kentucky being the team to beat, but
and then
if you're bringing John Wall off the bench, I mean, at his height, De'Aaron Fox off the bench, I mean, this is a deep ass team.
Arizona, it's Kentucky is the answer, but then Arizona has DeAndre Ayton, Lauri Markkanen, Aaron Gordon, Iguodala and Alonzo Trier, baby.
and if you're still playing, my man, Agent Zero.
ISO Zoe, baby.
Love ISO Zoe.
Louisville only has 5 players, but they're actually an interesting team because it's Terry Rozier, Donovan Mitchell, Montrez, and then you have Damian Lee and Gorgie Dang. So not great.
Not bad, though.
But yeah, something. Villanova, Kyle Lowry, and then it kind of Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges. Yeah.
Man, Mikal Bridges, it's tough. Everyone thought he was going to be like a great 3-and-D guy. Maybe he still will.
Oh, Eric Pascal for Villanova. Pascal.
Dude, you know what annoys me? That guy looks great. The Warriors are so fucking good at scouting.
I know.
That guy looks good.
Really
Off the
good.
bench, he's a 6th man of the year type. He's going to be good next year.
He averaged 14 and 5 this year with 2 assists.
And he's a kid.
Yeah. So him, Lowry, I guess Bridges, Jalen Brunson. I don't know. Josh Hart.
I like him.
Michigan has a couple players. Not really, actually.
Trey Burke and Tim Hardaway.
Trey Burke and Tim Hardaway, baby. Karis LeVert, Duncan Robinson, and Ignis Brisdakis, baby. How can we forget Iggy? Our Iggy, the real Iggy.
I like that dude. I have hope for that guy.
Yeah.
He's a tough dude. He's like
actually,
like a bruiser.
You know what? Kansas. Embiid.
Ooh.
Embiid is the centerpiece. And then you have Devontae Graham, who played good this year.
Great year.
Fucking the Morris brothers went to Kansas, dude.
Man.
Marquise.
If we're
Kelly
going old
Oubre,
school,
this is your team, dude. This is your team.
Brothers and Oobs. Dude, they got fucking – if we're going all time, we could throw in a little Danny Manning and Paul Pierce in there too.
All right, so let's go. Even right now, we have Embiid, Marcus Morris, of course, Kelly Oubre, Devontae Graham.
Wow.
And then the last Wiggins.
That's a good team.
Not a bad team. Okay.
That's a good team. We're long defensively.
Okay, that's your team.
Oubre is a fucking he's a problem, dude. Don't fuck with Kelly.
10 and 11.
I can't wait till I'm back in New York and we can do like online Twitch style playing and we have to draft the team because I'm gonna find a way to trade for Oubre and Marcus Morris in my starting 5.
You should just go rob your neighbor for a PS4. So we can play live together. Indiana has OG Anunoby, Oladipo.
That's nice.
And it kind of falls off a cliff from there. Cody Zeller.
I feel for Victor because man, that guy was just getting back to it.
Oh, Eric Gordon went to Indiana.
Yeah.
Thomas Bryant, he's solid. He's all right.
Yeah.
Yogi Ferrell, hilarious.
I like Yogi.
And then who I didn't even think about this. USC has DeRozan, my boy Dwayne Dedman. You know what? They have. You know who went to USC? Who I had no idea. Vucevic.
Wow, I didn't know.
I had no idea. And then you know what? Nick Young, still out of the league, but he can lace him up. Mm-hmm. We have DeMar DeRozan, Taj Gibson, Nikola Vucevic, Nick Young. Not bad, dude. Something there. But, yeah, I think looking at it, it's clear it's fucking Kentucky. Although Duke, Zion, Kyrie, Tatum, Ingram, Bagley, it's a fucking really good team.
It's good, but they don't win. But they are good.
Yeah.
I like
Davis, Towns, Booker.
That's just Murray. A dangerous team, dude.
Yeah. Shea.
Although I'll tell you, I don't think Texas is too shabby either. You just having KD, Marcus Aldridge, and whoever else, big man you said. That's a team.
Yeah. And UCLA, Russ, Kevin Love, Levine, Drew Holiday, and Lonzo. Solid.
That's a good team. Yeah.
All right,
no interior defense.
Yeah, no, they're getting fucking worked. I think we have a couple more. Let's do one more. From Palmer Fliss, your own team loyalty aside, do you think it's better for the league if there's one or two teams that dominate for 5 to 6 years, or if there's more parity, i.e. where no team repeats it as a champion?
My own loyalty aside, I hate it when the Knicks 5-peat. So I like when the league's a little more open. I think it's more like this. I was really looking forward to this.
This year was going to be so fun.
Because it felt wide open. I still think the Lakers were going to kind of pull it out now. I go back and forth between the Lakers, Clippers, and Bucks. But
I wanted to watch it, man. I'm so pissed.
I think the Lakers, for some reason, you're watching Jordan, and it's making me feel more and more like maybe LeBron would have pulled it out.
Yeah, but life isn't the fucking narrative, baby. You never know. You really never know.
I mean, injuries happen, as did with the Warriors last year. Else, I think they would have beaten the Raptors.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially if KD doesn't get hurt, for sure.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, I think the answer is I think there's an intellectual argument to dynasties being interesting. They're good for the league in terms of marketing. Like these players become famous to like a layman knows who Steph Curry is because the Warriors were so good for so long.
Right.
But as like a diehard, it's like this year was I enjoyed this year so much because it's like you didn't know. You had to get to know each team. It was fucking interesting. It was up in the air. This playoffs would have been incredible. It's like Giannis has to prove himself.
Would have been the East. Yeah. I wasn't as excited about the East, but the West I think would have been bananas. I think if we had a Clippers-Lakers Western Conference Finals,
even the East, dude. Sixers versus Heat, Celtics versus Sixers, Celtics versus Bucks. I mean, there was interesting.
I just don't think I love watching the Sixers play. They're just not my type of team. But the Celtics are fun to watch.
But the thing is, they were interesting in terms of like just the drama of that team of like, can they figure it out? Can they put it together? Will they be good in the playoffs even though they fucking suck dick? Even though the brand of basketball is not something I was interested in, Elton Brand basically made a bet that it was like, when everything slows down, we have the biggest motherfuckers and we're going to fucking grind these games to a halt and we're going to win. Was that going to work? It was just like there was so much
future Knicks GM, Elton Brand. But yeah, you're right. I think in the playoffs they would have been more interesting just due to their length. And
but yeah, you're right.
The problems
the West was definitely gonna be better. And
even I just liked watching all those teams.
The Thunder, like Chris Paul out for blood. Like, what if they met the Rockets? How interesting would that have been? Can the Jazz do something?
They have a better record than the Rockets.
It's crazy.
Give my man CP3 some love.
Crazy. Anyway, folks, that is gonna do it for us. What a fucking fun episode, Sammy.
That was great, man.
We will be back. We are doing a Patreon episode. That will be released Friday, and we will be back again next Tuesday out here recapping. Again, we'll be recapping The Last Dance and then whatever NBA news has dropped. And we think we will actually – we're supposed to have our buddy Dan Soder a couple times, but we got rescheduled. He was doing some stuff, but we're pretty sure Soder will be here next Monday. So
I love a one-on-one too, though, man. This is great.
We don't listen. We don't need anybody, but we like to.
I love Soder, so I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
So we're trying to have good guests for you guys, but we will also be here, just the boys, every once in a while. Just your original daddies will be here for you talking basketball. And thank you guys so much. Rate, review, sign up for the Patreon if you can, and we will talk to you soon, guys. Bye bye.
Yo.